in 2014, Representative Gabbard appeared on an Indian news station, and it was a program called The Buck Stops Here. So she spoke a little bit about her background. She spoke about foreign relations. She spoke about the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. But we wanted to highlight a portion of that interview in which she talked about torture.
Let me ask you in the end, as a soldier, how do you respond to the much discussed report on the CIA's use of torture and what some Americans have called a blot on American values? Do you share that opinion, or as a soldier, do you have a very different perspective on the use of torture?
Very bluntly, I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted on this report. There are, I think the jury is still out on the report itself. There have been comments that there are things missing or it was incomplete, and there are differing opinions on the report itself. But as I think about it myself, clearly we would not like to see any human, any person around the world being treated inhumanely. On the other side, I can also understand that any of us, if we're in a situation where our family or our community, our state or our country is in a place where, let's say in an hour, a nuclear bomb or an attack will go off unless this information is found, I believe that if I were the President of the United States, that I would do everything in my power to keep the American people safe. So this is an area that I have conflicting feelings on.
Although, of course, there are questions about whether torture actually leads to the correct intel, right? That debate carries on.
That debate carries on. There are those who are in the position of conducting these interrogations, some who have said
it does work.
It does, and others who have said it doesn't.
That is quite wishy-washy. That is quite straddling of the fence, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted on this issue.
On one hand, we can see how inhumane it is, but on the other hand,
we see how necessary
it is because how bad terrorism is. You know, before we get into our commentary, I just want to graciously ask progressives: is this your queen? Is this your queen? Because it seemed like she was.
Say it right now. Say it right now.
She's your queen to be.
Exactly. Got to do it right, man.
It seems like she was defending CIA torture methods
that's what it kind of sounds
like.
That
many progressives decried as inhumane and barbaric.
Oh, yeah.
And also, I remember that that release report that debunked the effectiveness of these sessions.
Right.
And also said a lot of the information that came from these sessions was inconsequential and they couldn't use it. It didn't lead to like more information. But sure did sound like she was justifying those same torture tactics.
Yeah.
That was only what, 4.5 years ago?
About 4 years ago. Like I hate how she had to throw in the imagine, you know, there's only an hour left and there's a nuclear disaster. There might be a nuclear attack coming. You know, as a president, what would you do? You got to protect your family. You got to protect the American people. That's your job as president. Why throw that in when the torture program wasn't put in place because of that? It wasn't put in place because there was a nuclear bomb coming towards America, and then the people that are in leadership positions like, oh my gosh, man, we got to get this information. We got to stop this nuclear attack. This isn't James Bond.
This isn't like the show 24.
No.
That's what it seemed like. And I actually have heard that same talking point. Imagine if there was an hour left. Imagine if you had an hour to save the world. I've heard that talking point before. If anybody else would have said that, those who support Tulsi Gabbard right now, if anybody else would have said that, what would you say? What would you say? You'd be giving her a side eye right now. But because she supported Bernie Sanders, you want to give her a blank check. Nah, dog.
No, this is troubling straight up, because again, like you said at the beginning, it sounds very clearly that she is making the case for a torture program, one that, again, like you said,
many progressive decried as inhumane and barbaric,
and its use has been deemed ineffective too. And that was discussed at the end of that clip as well. The host was saying, "Hey, well, there's some reports out there about how it's not really effective because." the people that are being tortured, all they want is for the torture to stop. So they may give you some faulty information just so that you stop hurting them.
You know, people, and you know what I'm saying? I just, like, I don't think people wondered why there was chatter about the Trump administration possibly tapping her for a cabinet position. Remember that? Yeah. We thought so too. Yeah. I think people were so caught up in the illusion that Trump was going to stop the wars and that Gabbard was anti-war,
right?
That they ignored her actual words and just assumed she was joining forces with Trump to de-escalate foreign involvement. I think that's why, because there was a lot of assumptions about her, so they completely ignored her actual words. And like I said, the other major thingy that I mentioned was, you know, giving her credit for simply supporting Bernie Sanders and completely just ignoring everything she has espoused.
Don't let the connection that she made back in 2016 to, was it 2015 actually?
It might have been.
I can't remember exactly when she made the move to distance herself from the DNC. But whenever she made that move, don't let that connection that she made just alleviate all the other legitimate concerns that there are about Tulsi Gabbard. This is a legitimate concern, and she should have to answer for this. We didn't know about this until just recently, but this should definitely be in a part of the conversation.
Like, if you are a champion of Edward Snowden and his work and his whistleblowing, then you have a major conflict if you support Tulsi Gabbard.